Hey YouTube, Whiskey Gaming coming at you, episode 4.
What's up, YouTube?
Hey, in today's episode, we're going to take another look at tanks in the Elder Scrolls Online. So I know I posted a video, actually my very first video I ever made. I kind of showed you guys what skills I was running, what gear I was running. I want to take it a step further this time though. I want to show you all the gear sets you should have and all the skills you should pick up as a tank so that you are ready for when your trial leader calls on you to run those gear or run those skills. Alright, so let's break it down real quick. We'll look at the gear first. In terms of gear, as a tank, Ebon is a very popular set in the Elder Scrolls Online right now. It's a set that you see most off tanks running. Even some main tanks run it. It's totally fine. What makes Ebon so good is that 5-piece bonus, increasing your max health by 988 for up to 11 for you and up to 11 other group members for within 28 meters of you. If you had 5 golden pieces of Ebon, I only have 4. It'd be 1,000 health for you and up to 11 group members. Once again, it's a great set. It's meta right now. Most tanks should have this, on them at all times. Not necessarily running it, but having your bags in case you do need to run it. Second up, Yolnahkriin. Yolnahkriin, in my opinion, is the one set that all tanks in the game should be running, unless you haven't farmed it up yet because you're a new tank. What makes Yolnahkriin so good is the 5-piece bonus. When you taunt an enemy, you give yourself and 11 group members minor courage for 15 seconds, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 215. This is a huge damage boost to your group, and it's something that both tanks should be running. The other thing that makes Yolnahkriin so good is that 3-piece bonus. It grants you minor Aegis, reduce the damage you take from dungeon, trial, and arena monsters by 5%. Just makes you more tanky. Yolnahkriin is a must-have if you're going to tank vet trials in the Elder Scrolls Online. Really, as a tank, as soon as you hit level 50, just grab those easy to grab sets off guild traders, and then you should immediately try to start farming Yolnahkriin. Another set you'll see people run, that's Alkosh. Every tank in the game should have Alkosh. Now I'm showing you boots of Alkosh, but you should not be running the armor pieces of Alkosh as a tank. And the reason being is Alkosh drops as a medium armor set. You don't want to be running medium armor as a tank, you're just running heavy armor. So Alkosh should be run on your jewelry and your weapons. But what makes Alkosh so good is its 5-piece bonus. What it does is when you activate a synergy as a tank, it sends a shockwave from position doing 3,500 physical damage immediately, and then it does the damage over time as well. Why that's significant is because the enemies are hit by the initial damage wave, their physical and spell resistance is reduced by the amount of damage they took. So in this case, these are just blue boots. It's gonna be more if you're wearing gold armor, but with the blue boots, their physical and spell resistance is going to be reduced by 3,515. That's huge. That's also a great boost to your group's damage as a whole. And as a tank, that's something you should be doing. I mean, your support is what you are. We need to be increasing the survivability of our group, but more so increasing the damage of our group. Alright, some other sets, they're kind of fringe sets that you don't see people running all that often, but they're good to have as just in case. A common one is Battalion Defender. Now this is a really easy set to pick up off the guild traders. If you get to level 50, I'd recommend picking up a set of Battalion Defender and Plague Doctor. You can buy both of them off guild trader, get yourself a starting tank set, and then you can go get the other sets as needed. What makes Battalion Defender worth running? 5-piece bonus. After successfully blocking, you heal yourself or a group member within 15 meters of you for 2,713 health. This effect can occur once every second. That's a decent heal. Battalion Defender comes in handy when you've got a group of healers, well, your 2 healers that are in your trial group, who aren't that effective at healing. Your group just can't stay alive because the healers aren't putting out enough healing to keep the group alive. You can throw on a Battalion Defender, you're increasing that group healing that's being done, and helping keeping people alive. It's not a real common set to run. You really don't want to run it except for in a very few situations, but it's a good set to have, just because it's so easy to pick up. Another common set you'll see tanks run is Plague Doctor. This is a great one to pick up off the guild trader as soon as you hit 50. You know, I would immediately try to get Eben. I'd immediately try to get Yulnakrin, Alkosh. Those are sets you should be running. Plague Doctor is a very selfish set. And what I mean by that is it doesn't do anything to boost your group. All it does is make you more tanky by giving you a whole bunch more health. The 2-piece, 3-piece, 4-piece, and 5-piece all grant you max health. So you get a lot of health from the set, which is nice, but there's no benefit to the group as a whole other than just making you, have a higher health pool. In addition to those sets, there's some additional sets that you as a tank should look to pick up. Once again, they're kind of fringe sets, but be fun to play around with and good to have. Powerful Assault is a good set. It's not a real common set. You don't see it all that often, but the set effect, what it does is it can grant you and your group, 5 group members, 307 weapon and spell damage. It's an okay set. I personally think Yulnakrin is a better set. Alkosh is a better set. So those are the sets you should be running, first and foremost. Leeching Plate, you'll see some tanks run. Once again, it's kind of a selfish set. What it does is it damages people and then puts a pool that heals you for some of the damage done. It's an okay set. It helps keep you alive, but it's not real beneficial to the group as a whole. Worm's Raiment, you'll see some tanks run sometimes, which isn't a bad set to pick up either. You'll see healers run it more often than tanks, just because it's so much more beneficial to healers than tanks. Also, Worms drops in light armor, so you're going to have to run the weapons and jewelry on it, not the armor pieces. So that basically covers it for tanking sets. There are some other sets you can run. Wouldn't recommend it outside of Alkosh, Yulnakrin, and Eben, save for a few situations. In terms of monster sets that tanks should run, Lord Warden is a good tank to pick, is a good tank set to pick up as well. What it does is grants armor and then grants group armor to everyone within 8 meters of you. In addition to Lord Warden, Stonekeeper is a good set to run as well. It's got its fights that's good in and its fights that's terrible in. One of the fights that it's good in is if you get into Hellrot Citadel and you're the tank who's going down, and you've got to tank all the Welmas on the second boss fight. You're just getting pounded, so you're blocking a whole bunch of attacks. Well, you're going to be racking up those charges real fast, and that makes Stonekeeper a good set to run. Thor Vulcan's another nice set, to have handy. If the event rises or the occasion rises to run it. Blades of Symphony isn't a bad set to have handy. Engine Guarding isn't a bad set to have handy. These are some good tank sets to farm up, to have on your person in situations where you need to have them on you. Alright, so that kind of takes care of the armor sets that you as a tank should have. In terms of skills, now I already ran through my skills in a previous video, so I'm not going to cover them in too much detail here. Like I said, you should have this is specific to the Dragonite tank: Igneous Shield, Green Dragon's Blood, Defensive Stance, Heroic Slash, Ransack, Magma Shell, Aggressive Warhorn, Inner Rage, Unrelenting Grip, Choking Talons, Sanguine Altar, Hardened Armor. Those are all a must to have. Some other abilities to pick up: Cinderstorm is not a bad one. It decreases the movement speed of the mobs or whomever is in Cinderstorm by 70%. It's just good to kind of corral enemies if the event rises. It's along the lines of Choking Talons. Some other good skills to pick up as a tank: Crushing Shock. In the rare instance where you need to help interrupt at a distance, Crushing Shock's always beneficial to have on your bar. I wouldn't expect to run it very often as a tank, but it's always nice to be flexible as a tank. Elemental Blockade is an ability you as a tank should have, and you'll run quite frequently. I run a Destruction Staff on my back bar, as most tanks do, and then if you throw down Elemental Blockade with Lightning Staff, the mobs you hit, the boss you hit, you can set them off balance, which increases the damage they take from the damage dealers and the healers and the tanks for that matter. And this, can very easily go over, talents. It can go over grip. It depends on the encounters. If you're in a boss fight where there's no ads for you to pick up, then you don't need talents, you don't need grip. So you can sub these abilities out for abilities that will be beneficial to you. Some other abilities that you as a tank should pick up. I've picked up Echoing Vigor. It's AoE heal for those around you. It's not a bad ability to have, just in case if you gotta throw out some additional healing. Purge, as a tank, you may be called on to help purge from time to time. Again, just makes you more flexible as a player the more skills you have. I went the efficient purge rather than the purge that heals people, because you as a tank, you don't have a large magicka pool to begin with, so being able to reduce the cost of purge, goes a long ways for a tank. Another skill I picked up is guard. You won't run this all as often, but there are encounters where the off tank needs to guard the main tank, or the main tank needs to guard the off tank. A good instance of this is Vet Kynes Aegis. That final boss fight, it helps when the main tank can guard the off tank while the off tank is tanking the mini boss. So the situations where all these arise. Again, these skills, this gear, it increases your flexibility as a tank. You don't have to have it all. I would recommend picking up as many as you can, because it just makes you more flexible as a tank. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit the like button, click subscribe. I really appreciate it, because I'm gonna keep making these videos. I'm trying to build a base of you people, of fans. That's all I got. Thanks. Peace.